Jake Paul fight. What is your reaction when you see that?
I don't really know where to go with this subject, because if I say something, I'm going to get backlash.
Gervonta Davis just posted that he would beat the brakes off of you if you guys fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super, super down.
Is Jake Paul someone you'd want to take on at one point?
Yeah. Tell him, this is my call out. Jake Paul, what up?
Floyd Mayweather has finally broken his silence on the much-hyped potential showdown between Jake Paul and Gervonta "Tank" Davis. And, as expected, he didn't hold back. In classic Mayweather fashion, the undefeated legend delivered a sharp and calculated response. Dismissing the entertainment-driven spectacle Jake Paul is known for, while reaffirming that Tank Davis remains one of the most dangerous and skilled fighters in boxing today.
Chapter 1's done tonight. Now we're moving into chapter 2, and I'm just getting warmed up in the sport. But people hold the Tommy Fury thing against me, but what now? I just beat a former world champion, and I'm coming to avenge that loss as well with Tommy.
Live only on DAZN, June 28th. Jake Paul versus Chavez Jr. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
With his trademark swagger, Floyd made it clear that while Jake Paul has done an impressive job turning social media fame into big paydays, stepping into the ring with a killer like Gervonta Davis is a completely different challenge.
Something I'm going to get backlash, because, you know, no matter what I say, it's not.
Okay. So you can't
it's
say.
It's not right. But, well, basically, when you're watching boxing for free, you can have millions and millions and millions, hundreds of millions of views.
Yeah.
But when you're watching Floyd Mayweather, you have to pay.
It's real.
So, I mean, I did pay-per-view numbers.
Floyd Mayweather has repeatedly voiced his skepticism about Jake Paul's boxing career, questioning his ability to compete with true professionals. In several interviews, Mayweather stated that Paul has yet to face a legitimate boxer, and warned that when he finally does, the result will expose his limitations. He acknowledged Paul's wins over MMA fighters and influencers, but emphasized that facing an experienced boxer is an entirely different level of competition.
He told me before his goal is to fight Canelo, so that's, you know, where his mindset's at.
It get fucked up by Canelo. Oh, I'm sorry. It's TMT.
You can curse.
I apologize, but
no apologize about.
There's no way he get demolished.
Boxing professionals immediately reacted when Jake Paul's name was linked with Gervonta "Tank" Davis. The announcement sparked intense debate within the sport, touching on issues of integrity, competition, and commercialization. While some fighters and analysts dismissed the matchup as a publicity stunt that cheapens boxing's traditions, others took a more practical view, acknowledging that such crossover bouts draw massive attention and revenue. The response ultimately reflected a growing divide between those who value boxing's legacy and those who see entertainment as its new driving force.
If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195. It would be an exhibition.
Okay, so it was going to be an exhibition, not sanctioned, but no restrictions. You could knock each other out and shit like that. It was going to be at a catch weight of 195 pounds, 10 rounds, 3 minutes. I've been trying to figure this out. Why was I a Tank hater for wanting to see Tank go up 5 pounds to get some smoke with like Teofimo Lopez or something? I just wanted to see him go up 5 pounds and fight Teofimo Lopez. And all of you are saying, you want Tank hurt, Showbiz. You a hater. You want him hurt. Then I'm convinced, okay, he's too small, but he can fight Jake at 195?
Critics have strongly condemned the idea of Gervonta "Tank" Davis facing Jake Paul, calling it absurd and damaging to Davis's reputation. One fan on Essentially Sports described the matchup as pure insanity, accusing Jake Paul of chasing a massive payday at the expense of boxing's integrity. Veteran analyst Paulie Malignaggi joined the criticism, questioning Tank's recent opposition and suggesting he's avoided true elite contenders in his division. Lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson went even further, calling the potential fight disrespectful to the sport, arguing that Davis should focus on meaningful unification bouts instead of crossover spectacles. Collectively, These opinions reflect a growing concern that such matchups prioritize profit over prestige and risk tarnishing the sport's credibility.
Something else that's unfortunate is the idea that Jake Paul might actually fight Gervonta Tank Davis. This can't be real. When it came up a couple of months ago, I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to cover this because there's no way it's real. There's no way they're really going to do that because it makes no sense. Why would you do that for him? Outside of it, like, okay, you can look at it like an exhibition, which it will be, and we'll take a look at some of the rule set for it. But Gervonta Davis is one of, if not the best, biggest names at 135 pounds and is an active in his prime fighter. I don't want to hear the similar to Floyd and Logan thing because at that point, Floyd was retired. Floyd had done all he needed to do in the sport. Tank is still in his prime, still has multiple high-level opponents that he needs to fight. And you can say, oh, you know, the Jake would be a one-off. Side quest. That's fine, but that just tells me that Tank doesn't care about being a high-level champion in the sport anymore.
Shakur Stevenson has openly condemned the idea of Gervonta Tank Davis fighting Jake Paul before facing him, calling it disrespectful to both the sport and its competitive order. Speaking to Fight Hub TV, Stevenson said, "Man, Tank is disrespectful to the sport if he chooses fighting Jake Paul over fighting me." He expressed frustration that Davis might overlook a legitimate unification bout, a fight that would truly define their era, in favor of a crossover spectacle with a YouTuber. For Stevenson, Tank's claims of being the best mean nothing without proving it in the ring against real contenders. He insists that if Davis truly wants to cement his legacy, the path runs through top-tier fighters like him, not through sideshow matchups built for attention.
Didn't say you got your eye on Tank. What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fighting?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. He called cap on it. So if he won't call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it.
Gervonta Tank Davis's perception of Jake Paul has evolved notably over the past few years. Early on, Davis openly mocked Paul, viewing him as just another social media personality chasing fame through boxing. He laughed off the idea of Paul belonging anywhere near the professional ranks. However, as Paul began dedicating himself to serious training and taking on real opponents, Davis's stance softened. By late 2023, he acknowledged that Paul had earned a measure of respect, crediting his discipline, resilience, and growing technical skill, though still making it clear that Paul wasn't on an elite level. Following his controversial draw with Lamont Roach, Davis reportedly hinted that he might consider fighting Paul in the future, recognizing the financial and promotional impact such a matchup could bring. While Tank still views the skill gap as wide, his shift in tone shows a balance between respect for Paul's grind and awareness of the spectacle his name guarantees.
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown. He's a clown. I know that Jake can't fight. He can't fight. So
would you look at it as a joke if someone, if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like,
yeah, man, I laugh at him. You want me to fight him? At first, I didn't like how Jake Paul was coming because of how he was making it look. But now that I see that I feel as though he's still a clown because that's his personality. I'm starting to respect it because he's not doing it like for the hype. He was really like trying to be a boxer. I think that he's decent.
Yeah,
like he's good. I mean, he's not good, but he's going that way.
Is he better than you thought he'd be?
Yeah. Gotta be mentally tough to be in the box. So that's why I don't take that away from some fighters or some people that want to jump into the sport. So just show how tough you are. That's how it should be.
Especially after Jake Paul's dominant victory over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., respect for him within the boxing community has grown considerably. The Anaheim Showdown broke the arena's all-time gate revenue record, surpassing even events headlined by major stars like Canelo Alvarez and Ryan Garcia, a clear sign of Paul's immense commercial draw. Legendary figures such as Oscar de la Hoya have since praised Paul's progress, stating that he now deserves to be taken seriously as a legitimate contender capable of chasing world titles. Even Manny Pacquiao acknowledged that, while skepticism remains, Paul's discipline and consistency in training demand respect. Analysts also highlighted his poise under pressure and improved ring IQ, noting how effectively he managed distance and dictated tempo throughout the bout.
Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So Jake Paul, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., it's a real fight. Look, people keep talking about Jake Paul, well, he's not a real fighter, this and that. Well, he's fighting a real fighter now in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It's going to be a good test for both guys. Obviously, Jake Paul, he's a masterclass promoter in what he does. He's been doing some great things. I mean, Mike Tyson, 60 million people. Fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who, when he trains, when he gets in shape, when he's focused, he will be dangerous for anybody. Look, Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. We promoted that fight many years ago. Didn't knock him out, couldn't hurt him. So imagine if Jake Paul can hurt or even wobble Chavez Jr. It's something that Canelo didn't do or couldn't do. So there's a lot of stories to come out from this, a lot of great stories for Jake Paul. So I just feel honored and proud that we can team up with MVP Promotions, with Jake Paul, and we can make Zurdo Ramirez with Torticos the mandatory. That's going to be a bloodbath in itself. So we're excited.
Jake Paul has officially declared that the next phase of his boxing career marks a turning point, one focused entirely on facing real professional boxers. Fresh off his win over Andre August, Paul revealed that he's done with crossover and MMA matchups, committing instead to the traditional boxing path. In an interview with CNN, he emphasized that his goal now is to fight the toughest names in the division, opponents who can challenge him and make him the underdog. Paul stated that this new chapter is about proving his legitimacy in the sport, not just generating buzz. Through his public statements and social media posts, he's made it clear the era of spectacle is over, and his mission is to build a genuine boxing legacy by taking on credible, ranked fighters.
So everybody's been calling you out, Daniel Dubois, Ryan Garcia, all these people. Who's the most enticing to you?
Oh no, I want to fight them all, to be honest. I just need the time. So I probably will literally fight all of them. So they're all enticing to me.
9-year-old Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and it's another win for Jake Paul. He was greeted with boos post-fight after winning his 6th straight fight, calling out anyone and everyone, requesting multiple title shots and a possible rematch with Tommy Fury. Jake claims he's just getting warmed up. This was just his 13th professional boxing fight. Back here with Brian Campbell, Danny Vitlani. BC, what did you see? What are your takeaways from this latest bout from Jake Paul?
It kind of depends on what we're judging him. If we're judging Jake Paul as a future cruiserweight title challenger, I'd have to say he has a long way to go. But going 10 rounds against a former champion, even if that former champion is a Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who was 39 years old and really 13 years or so removed from credibility in the ring, at least Jake had to go 10 hard rounds, which was an improvement from some of the 8-round fights he's had earlier. And he had to fight off a somewhat stiff challenge late from a Chavez who pretty much took the first 4 rounds off completely of this fight and really took a long time to heat up and finally get going. I don't mean to be a hater here, but you do have to judge with some knowledge compared to the rest of boxing. It's one thing to be the best celebrity fighter in the world. It's another thing to legitimately climb the ladder and fight for a cruiserweight world title.
Logan Paul has been one of Jake Paul's most vocal supporters since the beginning of his boxing career. He frequently praises Jake's determination, discipline, and refusal to back down from challenges. Logan admires how his younger brother turned early criticism into motivation, silencing doubters through consistent performances and an impressive 11-1 record. He often points out that Jake's courage to take on serious opponents sets him apart in a sport where many play it safe. For Logan, Jake's success isn't just about fame or spectacle. It's about proving that hard work and focus can turn an outsider into a legitimate contender. His pride in Jake's journey reflects both brotherly support and recognition of the credibility Jake has earned in the boxing world.
My brother has an 11-1 boxing record. The one came from a guy by the name of Tommy Fury.
Yeah, watch that fight.
Jake, obviously, super hungry kid, wants to avenge that loss, but Tommy won't take the fight.
When I lost to Matt Serra, I was obsessed of revenge. So one of the sport psychologists, he made me take a brick and wrote the name Sarah on it. So he made me carry a freaking brick in my training bag. Until that point, I couldn't take it anymore. He made me go to the Saint Laurent River and he made me throw the brick. When I did this, it kind of releases me. But my point is that it's awful and it must stink like fucking crazy. But you need to focus on the next task because that could be a big mistake.